very pleasant evening to you out there. Many thanks for joining us on another edition of the program National Talk on Equa Television International. My name is Joyce Jakada. On National Talk tonight, it is no news that Nigerians are facing hard times over high cost of living and inflation. Some took to the streets to protest over the high cost of living. And in the wake of this hardship, Vice President Kashim Shettima at the recent Public Wealth Management Conference said that there are forces that are hell-bent on undermining the nation through smuggling of foodstuffs to other countries. The Senate President, Godswill Akpabio, on his part, linked the protests across states in Nigeria over the hardship experience as being sponsored. This is even as the governors elected on the People's Democratic Party, PDP, advised the ruling All Progressive Congress under the leadership of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to resign if they have no solution to the current economic hardship in the country, noting that the hardship and suffering faced by Nigerians has no political, tribal, or religious coloration, highlighting that a hungry man is an angry man. You would recall that on February 8, 2024, the Nigeria Labour Congress, NLC, and the Trade Union Congress, TUC, issued a 14-day ultimatum to the federal government over non-implementation of the 16-point agreement both parties reached after the removal of petrol subsidy. An agreement focused on addressing the massive suffering and general hardship, the socio-economic consequences of the hike in price of PMS and devaluation of Naira. On National Talk tonight, I'm being joined by Comr Sunday Ayodele Akinfolarin, who is the Vice Chairman, Nigerian Labour Congress, Plateau State Chapter, to discuss the current hardship in Nigeria. Good evening and welcome to National Talk.
Good evening.
Well, it feels busy, like you've been busy and you're here with us to speak and then give perspective on what is happening in Nigeria, and we really acknowledge and appreciate your presence on the show.
Thank you.
All right, let's talk about Nigeria and what is happening. It is no news, the hardship, like everyone can actually relate with. It was on the 8th of February that your union, the NLC, and as well as the TUC, issued a 14-day ultimatum to the federal government saying that if you fail to implement this 16-point agreement that we have reached, which is geared towards reducing the impact of the removal of fuel subsidy. I don't know what the decision of the NLC was going to be, but there was actually an ultimatum. I want you to speak to that decision. Where are you at the moment?
Thank you very much. And I think there's any news stories about all these. That actually, yes, last year we signed an agreement, a kind of a memorandum agreement between Labour and government, the federal government. And that is why we suspended our strike as of then. And hope that the federal government will do justice to all the memorandums of understanding that both parties were signed. You know, like we said here, we have been saying it times with that number that where there is an agreement, where there is a law of principles and failed, we can cause such situations as lawless environment. The government have failed, woefully failed, in order to honor the memorandum that we have jointly signed. And as a result of their failure on the part of government to sign the memorandum, that are metaphor to the system we find ourselves today on the hardship that befall on everybody. Because we should remember, as of then, the removal of subsidy have been the bedrock of some of these ugly situations we find ourselves today. And we have said it here severally, both on the media and in other areas we can disseminate a message across the world. That if the federal government fail to do this, there's an agreement said by December they are going to fulfill. There's one before December they are going to be fulfilled. Some of all these agreement memorandum we are talking about, not all that involved money to go to workers or to go to the market or to go to the public or society.
Let me just cut in here, comrade. The agreement that you signed with the federal government, you said it's geared toward addressing the massive suffering and then the general harsh socio-economic consequences of the hike in price of PMS and then devaluation of Naira. And this is what we see on the street. This is what we see in the markets. It has really impacted on the lives of Nigerians generally. Policies such as that is not without pain, and people tell you where there's no pain, there's no gain. And this is just one of the economic policy of this current administration. But Nigerian workers have continued to lament on how that their wages, their salaries are stagnated, yet they cannot go to the market. Like what they spend money on, their salary can barely like buy all of those things. Now the NLC, the Organized Labor Congress, has one of its major objectives to promote, to defend the interests of the workers. I've heard over and over again how that some workers and even Nigerians are saying we don't even have hope on this body, because it's more like you issuing 14-day ultimatums, coming up on the media to say we'll do this, we'll shut down, but like sooner or later we don't hear anything, and people say, oh, it's like after the meeting money exchange hands. A lot of accusation and all of that, and no wonder even on February 8th, when they issued the 14-day ultimatum, people are like, well, nothing is going to come out of this. These people are just need some handshake, and that's just it.
That is perspective of the society. It's who wears the shoes that knows where it pays. It might, everybody have area of specializations. Yes, NLC have been issuing series of letter notifications about protest or strike against some obnoxious policy, the tyrannic law that's coming up from government. They all know. You see, it's unfortunate when they get to that seat, they forget their members who elected them. They become to perceive and personalizing issues of this country. And just like what you said, that some of them said, the issue have been politicizing. Who and whom? Which parties? As far as Labour is concerned, we are not a partisan to any oppositions group of a party. But the issue is this. When the federal government or when the president came on board, less than 24 hours, he made a pronouncement that subsidies removal, right? Without looking at this, the consequent effect of what he's doing, what is going to apply to, what are going to be the gains, what are going to be the lose. As of today, like you have said, they have removed subsidy. Since we have been working, or since I have been working, I've never witnessed an hardship as much as what we are seeing as of today. So if anybody now should go outside and say, Labour have been bought over, yes, it has become a slogan in everywhere. That when we call the 14 days, when we call this and that. But I want you to know on this platform today that the fact is that when Labour issue a notice of memorandum, or notice of actions out, there is a law that regulated us, even under the ILO conventions, international law. The moment things like this is coming out, and the other opposition side, now our government responded to our actions, invited us for discussions. There's no any reason for us to go out unless we want to become a lawless about this. But for the issue of hardship, inflation, high rate of inflation in society as of today, honestly, is unquantifiable with anything we can think of. So we on the 16th of this month, there was a meeting. There is a NEC meeting. That's one of the highest organs of the Nigerian Labour Congress. We, as of today, we still continue to stand firm on our decisions. All of us join hands together to pray that let the country see an action that will come from Nigeria Labour. And this issue have even go beyond Labour Congress. I want to give you an assignment. If you go outside today and invite outsiders to come and hear, say, will you join Labour now? Or what are you experiencing? They will say hardship. Like I told you here, Labour have a percentage of workers. But Nigeria is another country that we are smiling when there is a problem. This is also the first time in history that you see inflations. There's a lot of demonstration here and there in various states. And see, these have not sent a signal to the governor or government that, look, we are looking for a revolution.
But it just looks like the people are have given up on Labour, and they are deciding to take to the streets. Because, like I said earlier, my concern is the Nigerian worker.
I want you to understand something, my dear sister, that people cannot give up on Labour, but rather they should even praise Labour.
So where are you
because
at
as
the
of
moment?
today,
Where
if not because of Labour, you are talking of petroleum something now, pump price. How much today? I was in the meeting of negotiations about 2 weeks ago. I mean this week. I asked the government, when we are talking of increasing worker salary, and you are saying you are giving them maybe 2,000 naira, you are giving them 13,000. The question I ask is this: Can you quantify that amount you are giving? How many days does it cost? Or will you spend that money? And I cited an example that, look, my child came back from school. Is to write final year NECO. He said that, Daddy, they have increased my NECO with 10,000 naira. I asked them, how many parents can conveniently sleep and avoid of paying that 10,000 naira? All civil servants, how many of us can pay? So if everybody is giving up on labor, I think this country will not help matters. Because the situation we still find ourselves today is still labor now that's checkmating the obnoxious policy and hardship they are giving to people.
All right, let's talk about the...
So we should appreciate labor. It's not easy. We sacrifice our life. Some of us that you are seeing here, we have experienced live bullet. Some of our property have been bastardized. But will society see all those things? But we are just like labor have become an institution that the other side who are watching labor, who are expecting labor to be this, have become like an Oliver Twist that need more from labor. But I want to tell you, the notice given 2 days, we are just trying to be benevolent to the current government. We are trying, and to avoid some of this system, to say that we are being also what they bought over by the other opposition group of party, whereas we have nothing to do with that. Neither Labour Party, neither Afghan, not whatever party they talk about, we are totally free out of it.
You're talking about being benevolent, so I'm just wondering how long would you be, because there are
No.
dying of
You know why?
hunger
When we say benevolent, to give them a warning, that's 2 days warning. If we want to be, insensitive to issues or to some of the policy they are giving, we don't need to give them any 2 days, because it's a continuity of our previous actions, where they talk to us and sat down with us and call us up that, okay, let us sign a memorandum. And it's unfortunate that I've been giving us a bad image in society. Look at my rugged car. I don't have tire on my car. Am I an executive officer of a labor to the state? I cannot change my tire. If I be getting a brown envelope, won't I change my car or this why?
Oh, all right.
So these are some of the things that people should sit down critically and assess. It's a self-sacrifice job. But when we don't give what that society is expecting, like, okay, this hardship of a mudu of rice has become about 1,800 now. Labor, go out and let us, what they call it, go on strike or protest, and then they bring it down to 1,000 naira. That is when they will now see that labor is working. But in as much that it has not been possible to do, we have not done anything, we have been bought over. That's what has been the system, and that's what has been the practice of what we are talking about. But I surely believe that this time around, I'm assure you here that if the federal government fail to do the needful within this short period of time, I know, yes, definitely, at midnight, they might call us, okay, let us come and discuss. They will come up with very, very promising notes, very promising discussions. Then what do you expect us to do? My dear sister, whatever we are doing, we should put God's face in it. There's only God that's scrutinizing the heart of mankind. And we know what you are saying. I can only speak up, but you don't know what is in my mind. How do we get into their heart and know what they are saying?
All right.
So that's one of the challenges we are facing.
Let's speak to the current situation. There are protests in different states in the country. Like we've seen that in Kano State, we've seen that in Niger State. We've even seen protests in Ibadan, some parts of the country. And yet, the likes of the Senate President, Godswill Akpabio, is saying that this protest is being sponsored. We've even seen the Vice President coming out to say that, see, this high cost of commodities is due to smugglers.
I told you earlier on that these people, do they remember that they have a stewardship that watching them? Do they remember that they have people in society that voted them into the office? When they get to that, they use people and dump. Because if they are humans, that they have water and blood in their body, they will not go out and say that. I say, let us take a fuel for instance. Are you saying, Akpabio, how did he get his fuel? Does he have the feelings? Right from the time they have become the governor of, what do you call it, Cross River. Is it Cross River? Or what? So, since then, you know how much he have a mark. So, he doesn't feel the pains. Some of these people don't have their family in this country. They are outside the country. They are evils. Let us not hide it. They are evil. Some of them, I'm coming. Some of them today, do you know how much they are taking home? Some of, last December, each of them in the Senate, they are taking 300 million for celebrations on the newspaper. It's on the media. You are aware about it.
I'll cut you here.
So
we'll go on a quick break. When we
now
come
you are
back,
not expecting that
we'll continue this
they will say that the masses are suffering.
Comrade, we'll continue
when they
this
get all what they
conversation
want
after
under
the
the
break.
platter of gold.
Just hold on.
Unfortunate.
Hold on. We're going to continue this conversation. We're going on a short break. When we return, the conversation continues on the current hardship Nigerians are actually facing. Stay with us.
The gospel of Jesus Christ is our Heavenly Father's plan for the happiness and salvation of His children. Equa Television International shares the gospel of Jesus Christ because the world must come to the realization of the power in the atonement of sin through the grace and mercy of Jesus Christ. Sharing with the world the message of hope that can clean anyone from sin to enjoy the peace that is in Him. Equa Television International is live 24/7, preaching the message of salvation and truth to the world. Pray for Equa TV. Support Equa TV. Be part of Equa TV. Keep watching Equa Television International.
Thank you for staying with us on National Talk. It is indeed no news that Nigerian current economic condition is truly hard and Nigerians are feeling it. And we have been looking at the economic hardship I've been discussing with Comr Sunday, and I'm now being joined by Dr. Dagwom. Good evening and welcome to National Talk.
Good evening and thank you for having me.
Yeah, we've been looking at how that the current economic situation has impacted on the lives of Nigerians. And quickly, I would like to get your take. Over the past few weeks, anger has led to street protests like all over the country. There have been threats of strike. And I'm just worried, how did we get here? When you look at the Naira, the currency, there's actually a free fall. Inflation is on the high side amidst rising cost of commodity. Are you concerned of our current reality?
Definitely. I'm a Nigerian, so concerned.
Because it looks like some people are not impacted.
Yes, exactly.
I'm seriously concerned. I'm fortunate to be able to now pay my bills, and a lot are not fortunate to pay their bills, so I'm actually concerned. And even at all, if I can pay my bills, my extended family cannot really settle their bills. That you have to come in. So whether you're doing well or you're not doing well, definitely you have to be concerned in this kind of economy. The economy is bad, and solutions are not coming in. Economies worldwide, you manage them. You don't take decisions that will have a negative impact on the economy. And we're talking about economy, we're talking about the well-being of the people. You see, there are different indices of measuring economic development, but I think the one that UNDP is using, which is the Human Development Index, is so important. That is a composite index that takes care of education, health, and income that an individual can get. So if the HDI is high, then it means that the well-being of the people is being taken care of in terms of health, education, and income that they can eat food with. But you see, what is happening to this country today is that the income that goes to individuals, the personal income that goes to individual is so, in economics is what we call Y is equals to C. What it means is that incomes is equals to consumption, and if your income is much, you'll be able to now consume and save. So Y could be equals to C plus S, which is the savings, and that savings can now metamorphose into I, which is investment. So if you save, you can invest that. But if the Y now is not even equals to the C, what is the C? The C is the individual consumption. What do we consume? The basic consumption, those necessities, food, and that is what is being used to calculate our multidimensional poverty index. If you measure our multidimensional poverty index today, I think we'll be almost getting to 100%. So the point I'm making is that all indices, all economic indices as at today, if we're going to be real and going to be factual, they're down because everybody's crying. You can see some videos that you see on, on the social media. You see maybe they're sharing food. You see how people are rushing for food, whether it is raw food, whether it's cooked food, and so on and so forth. So we're not getting it right. And how did we get here? I think that is one of your questions. Honestly, I'll tell you that yes, we got here right from 2015. Someone would say that am I exaggerating from 2015? I'll tell you, before 2015, some of the economic policies are better because they manage the economy better. You see, where you know that a government is not managing the economy very well, when you see the effect, a greater effect, more than smaller effect that we had in 2015. You understand? So from 2015, you find out you find that there are a lot of things. You find out that a lot of things have been going wrong that the economy is not being managed. What am I saying? We had a lot of capital expenditure, and government decided to continue borrowing to finance those capital expenditure. Not only capital expenditure, even with the current expenditure. So what are they borrowing? How are they borrowing? They decided to be borrowing from central bank, what we call ways and means. That ways and means is in the CBN Act of 2007. But again, there is a ceiling. There is a level that you can borrow from CBN. These ways and means is to finance your budget. You borrow. Government, CBN will borrow government, and then it has a time that you pay back. So, but you find that Buhari's government collected loan through these ways and means amounting to trillions of naira, in which the law has it, they collect a certain percentage of the budget or of the GDP. But you find that what we collected was so huge that you find that we are borrowing to service our loans. You see that debt servicing, in which we're servicing our loans with about 30% of whatever we're going to generate, whether from loans or whatever. 30, maybe 35% we're servicing loans. That is paying interest, so not repayment of the principal amount. And then about 35% again going to finance recurrent expenditure. That is non-debt recurrent expenditure. We're talking about non-debt recurrent expenditure. That is your overheads, your personnel costs. So at the end of the day, what you generate, and then 30% goes to capital expenditure, in which that is the portion that grows the economy. That's the portion that can create jobs. That's the portion that can create employment. Because when you have bridges being built, you have roads being constructed, then definitely there's a ripple effect in the economy. According to the Canadian economist, in which I support the Canadian economy. So you find that the policies, the economic policies, especially how we got to this place, apart from the borrowing of the Buhari's regime, that it has piled up, our debt is moving to like 70-something trillion naira now. So this present government now, how it got this bad is because this government takes some policies based on impulse. We manage economies. On your day of inauguration, in fact, what I heard from the other side was that he didn't consult anybody, but that it's not even part of the speech.
But
Just
I've heard the party say, oh, they consider that an insult because they have considered that. And even though I know that a lot of people have said that this administration have weaponized blame game, but drawing from your explanation, this is not something that just started last year. It was from decisions that were taken years back.
see, every aspirant said that he was going
To
to
remove.
subsidy.
True.
But how?
So the
And how
methodology.
How are you going to manage the impact is the whole thing. You see, we know from the past, if you're removing subsidy, you now see, okay, so that people will now know the impact of the subsidy. Say, okay, if we remove it, we'll take it to this particular fund. You know, we operate a fund accounting system in government. We'll take it to this and we're going to spend this money specifically for this so that people feel the impact. But now, he announced the removal on the 29th May 2023 without any plan to accommodate the shock in the economy. And then at the end of the day, no plan for the palliatives, no plan for even the spending. In fact, at the end of the day, yes, states and federal government had more money after the removal, but no plan to spend the money. So some of the governors are busy traveling, busy spending their money the way they want to spend it. So it's not showing on the populace that are feeling the impact of the removal of the subsidy.
All right, Dr. Comrade Sunday, this administration led by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has continued to call on Nigerians to be patient because, like I said earlier, there is no gain without pain. This your organization, the NLC, have continued to hinged on the fact that the removal of the subsidy is the reason why Nigeria is where it is today in terms of economic hardship, and that is why they continue to call for some measures to cushion the effect or the impact of this first subsidy. But the president has continued to say, be patient. Be patient. We've seen recently his daughter as well as his son also calling on Nigerians to be patient. But how would you juxtapose the call and the actions on the part of the government? Because some people are saying, why you're asking us to be patient? Are Nigerians not patient? How long do we need to be patient? And I would like you also to speak to us on the impact of this hardship on individuals as well as businesses. We've seen Nigerians on the street. Apart from hunger, there are small businesses that are crying. We can't cope any longer. So speak to us on that.
Honestly, patient, it's somebody's name. And if Nigeria
is also a virtue.
Exactly. If Nigerians have not been patient, revolutions would have been declared so long times ago. That's to tell you, Nigeria, I give them a kiddo. Ordinary, a country, ordinary bread, just ordinary increase on bread. You know what really happens. But eventually, because of this hardship, a bag of water now, is that we are buying 150 naira, is now 350, and you are telling me to patient. What patient? Because they don't have the impact. They don't feel it. Salary have been stagnated. Now, let us look at it. As of today, we are talking of, as of today, they recognize the minimum wage is 30,000 naira. It takes how many years to get that 30,000 paid in some states? So, and we are still saying patient. I think we have exhausted of patience. Because of patience now have graduated or metaphor to crime, to kidnapping. Go and look at the number of people that are doing kidnapping today. Unfortunately, we are saying Fulani. But if we get to the root, you see even some of our people are more involved. Because of what? They have looked at it as a business of the day. But like my brother have said, doctor have mentioned here, if the economies are vibrant, so good, massive unemployment, things will be better. When you are saying patient, there's no work. In our houses, go to different houses today and look at statistics. You have no less than 2 graduates, unemployed. At the age of 25, 30 years, we are expecting these people to be settled. Their parents are still feeding them under the 35,000 naira minimum wage. It's better we should say it in the media that the government of today, they have woefully failed in the system in terms of welfare of people, in terms of business, trial in the country, they have woefully failed. In terms of insecurity,
but they are working
I'm coming. In terms of insecurity, they have woefully failed. I want to take you back. From May that 29, things are getting worse. Tell me what have improved in this country. It's better we should say it here. I'm coming, my dear. They should return back they should return back our subsidy and let it go back to the way it was before. It's not how much I told you earlier on here. How much we buy a liter of fuel in just 800 naira in some places, 780 naira in some places, other places higher than that. How much is my salary? I asked myself one day in the filling stations, are you saying to use a car is a crime on my part for a number of years I've served this country? I can no longer ride a car anyhow. So, you see, if there's a patient, it's wicked heart that's been wicked. And that is why encourage all laborers, encourage everybody in the street to join us when we say, I think it's getting to a stage that I will say it here, on my own personal view, that labor will throw out all these their discussions with us, engaging in social dialogue. We know social dialogue is a very vital instrument to use to resolve a conflict. But Nigeria is not on social dialogue. The only thing Nigeria knows, the government of today knows, we don't know whether it will fail again, is to go on street to shut down the economy of the system. My brother is analyzing all the economy. That is an ideal situation. Is that applicable in Nigeria? It's zero. Be a PhD holder, keep on teaching them. How can somebody in the Senate who is, let me tell you, my sister, if your salary as of today in these stations is up to 1 million naira, you will not talk of hardship. You will ask, what are they saying? Not to talk of somebody who is earning 16 million naira monthly.
So what do you make of the immediate and reactionary measures that the government have put in place, like conditional cash transfer that you've done? There's this 35,000 to civil servants that some have actually admitted receiving.
No. Since when do they make pronouncement of 35,000 naira? It was in October, right? Go and ask how many states have paid the money. How many? The discussion is ongoing in respect of this in various states. Even the federal government itself that say it, they just pay one. Is that how it should be? We are in the month of February. And now you are just paying maybe once or twice as a federal government. You have all the resources that we talked in this country in your power. And then you cannot implement what you pronounce from. We are wicked.
Dr. Dagwom, I would like
Dr. Dagwom, so you see, we have to be sincere on this issue. We should stop off our academic issue here now. Yeah. Let us look at the reality of issues. The hardship is killing us. Go to hospitals today, many people are dying at home.
Well, I heard that from the governor of Kano State, saying that some of his people are actually dying. But I would like Dr. Dagwom,
you are heard of that?
The governor of Kano State. Dr. Dagwom, speak to us on...
Sorry, before you go for that. My colleague told me today, in Lagos, that come and see how people are struggling to get rice at custom office. There is a video to see the level we are going in this country. It's come to a stage that when you are cooking your house, you will not eat the food alone. And that's what the labor is telling the government to quickly address before it gets to that level. Somebody went to market to go and sell his yam in Lagos. But I don't know whether you see that clips. Yeah. Before they know, they attack that trailer. And the styles, they are not struggling for 2 tubers of yam, single one. Have you ever witnessed that one in this country? This government should wake up and correct the needful before the night of 2 days on 27th.
All right, Dr. Dagwom, let's speak to us on what exactly is our problem. Some people have said maybe it's our population. Other people have spoken about bad leadership and lack of political will. But you see, the vice president recently in a conference was talking about how that smugglers are one of the reasons why we are facing high costs in terms of commodities. He spoke about 45 trucks that were intercepted by the custom, and then the discovery of about 32 routes in which all these trucks follow to go and sell grains to other countries at the detriment of the people here in Nigeria that are suffering. So what exactly, because when I heard him speak, I was really concerned. So do we mean that it's just maize that has been exported, like smuggled out, and then we've had cases of cement, we've had cases of petrol way back, and it speaks to the porous borders that we have and how that we've been unable to do anything about it. Recently in Kano too, about 3 trucks were intercepted as well. So what exactly is our problem? Is it bad leadership and lack of political will, or is just the population like other people are saying?
So let me give the answer.
Good.
Very simple. Leadership.
Bad leadership.
Leadership. I'll tell you why I said leadership. Because in fact, I think about 2 years back or so, I made a presentation at NIPS. We were we talked about Achilles' heel of corporate governance, whether it is a problem of leadership or institutions. And my answer was basically leadership. What am I saying about leadership? Everything that is wrong with this country is leadership. If you don't take responsibilities and if you don't punish those ones who are doing the bad things, definitely. You see, the excuse that they're giving us about the removal of the subsidy, they'll tell that subsidy is an inefficient system because it is more or less socially, so to say, than the efficient capitalist system. You see, the inefficiency of it can be cut by leadership. If some people are being held accountable for the corruption happening with the subsidy regime, then definitely some will take dressing. Sometimes we have to go even the Chinese way. If some will kill, because the fraud that is happening, a lot of people are dying. Let's have sorry, I might say it, firing squad. Sometimes you see what is happening in this country. A single person will embezzle billions of naira and then nobody punish that person. So what are we saying? It's leadership. So if today Tinubu, even if at all it is his vice president or his minister, and the axe is on him.
So don't you think that the case of enthronement of merit for nepotism that is making people go away with what they do?
That's the point. That's the leadership, because now you don't know, it's my tribe, it's Yoruba, so they're trying to attack the Hausas. So it's leadership. But if a leader would, the leadership is from top. If the head is bad, definitely the body will be bad. So now, if people are being punished, if today 2 ministers go wrong and then the man hit on them, heads of agencies, he heard about corruption, he has that executive power. Those that he appointed to remove them summarily like that. You understand? And then even the civil servants, he has. It is only in this country that you hear people. Somebody has stolen billions of naira. It is only in this country that you find that people are lobbying, bribing their way to go and fight corruption. Do you know that more than 50% of the EFCC staff are police officers? And I am telling you, people get to EFCC by bribing their ways, paying their ways to be EFCC, to go and fight corruption. So they engage in corruption to go and fight corruption. They lobby. So even if you don't pay anything, but you lobby, that because your brother is that you want to be posted to EFCC, already is corruption, because it should be based on merit.
You see,
people
part
who have the values to fight corruption, and so that is done. That is even killed. You understand? And then everybody, when you come as the president, you want to appoint your own tribe to head. So to
it's a problem.
So now it is leadership. So from the top, you have the trickle down of the leadership problem goes down, because the leaders are down. They get away with a lot of things.
And the doctor, let me just assist to buttress your points on that. Their leadership. We should not narrow it down only to leadership. There is a strong household that's giving them backup. That is judiciary. If you look at our judiciary system,
it's still part of the leadership. Because today, if at all, do you know something? It is only in this country that you find that people pay. Lawyers pay. I'm also a lawyer, you know that. People pay their way to be appointed as justices of the courts. They pay. They lobby. This is a country that you find that a chief justice of the federation sat on the seat to preside over the meeting of National Judicial Council and appointed his
own brother or son.
A son to be a judge. The right thing was for him to recuse himself, and someone should chair, and you declare that.
Exactly.
All right, let's talk about.
This is a country that we know that the president of Court of Appeal has her daughter as
a son,
as a justice of the State High Court, and her son-in-law, that is the husband to the daughter that is a judge.
What do you want to say? How do you clean that system?
All right, let's speak to the national strategy that government can put in place to salvage the situation, especially the consistent depreciation of naira, which we know is one of the causes of the hardship. And looking at the social consequences of this hardship, it has led to protests. We have seen it across states. It has also led to high rate of crimes. Gone are the days in this country where you see an accident that involves a truck with food, where people gather to ensure that the safety of that truck. In fact, it can stay there for weeks and then nothing will happen. But in Katsina, we saw how that a truck that was involved in accident, people just were rushing to just pick food items, and because of hunger. In Lagos State, in fact, we saw how that the truck carrying yam, how that people hijacked that truck. People were fighting because of bread. In Suleja also, another truck was hijacked, and then people were just parting away with food items. And then you ask, where is our values? But what is actually the cause of this? It's just something that can lead to the social consequences of this economic hardship. People can barely feed. It was the governor of Kano State that was saying, some of my people are dying of hunger, and there's an immediate need for actions to be put in place to salvage the situation. In fact, I was saying earlier on that the PDP governors met and said that, see, if the APC-led administration headed by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu cannot salvage this situation, cannot proffer solutions, then they should throw the towel, they should resign and let people who have solutions to salvage this situation. It's over 9 months since this administration came in, but all you keep hearing is, oh, be patient, be patient. Recently, a former head of state talking about Gowon actually highlighting, telling Nigerians after visiting the president that please be patient. We saw the likes of Bwala also after visiting the president saying that all the political appointees, supporters of Tinubu should come out and support the president at this moment. And I'm asking, what about the Nigerians that are dying of? So what can we do to salvage the situation?
The problem with Nigeria is a system problem. You see, what am I saying? Even the private sector. You see, this is a country that you find that someone will become a billionaire overnight, and we'll celebrate him. We'll not check him. See, there's this thing that is going about the forex you're talking about. These bank CEOs are ripping this country. That's the private sector. You see, a bank has a challenge. This is a country that you find that a bank CEO is a billionaire, whereas what they're declaring as profit is not up to the amount he has. How is he getting that money?
Workers like slave.
How is he getting that money? So what they do is that they are involved in round tripping of this forex that are being given, and the CBN is giving them cover. CBN is giving them cover. All this forget about them that they are billionaires. Honestly, they're fake billionaires. Because banking is, you see, the banking is giving out, you deposit your money and they give you this rate of interest because you're depositing your money, and they take your money and loan to a business person, and the business person will pay higher, and that's how they make their money. How many people are they lending money to today? But you see them, they will tell you they're billionaires. How are they billionaires? This forex. This forex. So the forex have been allocated to banks, and their chief executives play with this. Overnight, they sell it. You have your naira in the bank, and you want to transact with that bank instead of to exchange your naira. They will not do that. So the private sector is corrupt. People pay to get contracts with government, and substandard jobs have been done, and we're still happy. So we are trying to kill this country, and then you are trying to get. I told someone some times back. I said, look, this country is like a bubble; it will burst. It has just started busting now, because we are engaging incompetent people to lead us. Not only the political leaders. Even the agencies we're talking about, because we only engage people that we know. We only engage people of our tribes. We only engage people of our religion. So now, those ones who are not willing, people are being given appointment letters in their houses that they've not gone for the interview to even know the job they're going to do. So at the end of the day, they're giving jobs in CPN, they're giving jobs in NNPC, they're giving jobs in all these regulatory agencies without them having even the competence to do the work. So they are not doing well because they're not giving good advice. So at the end of the day, we are living in a bubble society that one day it will burst. It has started busting. And do you know something? It's because of the wrong policies, and because we've gotten the wrong people, the incompetent people to make policies. So they are not making the policies that will impact on the people because of their incompetence. You die with your competence if you don't lobby or you don't have your brother that is there, and so on and so forth.
So what national strategy can the government put in place to salvage the
national
situation?
strategy that can be adopted is for us to call a spade, for us to be truthful, for us to love your neighbor as yourself, as the Bible teaches us. Is for us to really love us, regardless of where you're coming. You're a human being, we should love ourselves, and we should feel that if I do this thing, It's going to affect him negatively. So I should love him and do the right thing so that he will not be adversely affected. That's the only thing we need. But if we don't bring the teachings of what we profess every day, that I'm a Christian, I'm a Muslim,
we are not going anywhere.
When we cannot go anywhere. When we love everybody we see as a Nigerian, we take the right decisions. I don't need to embezzle the money that is meant to build bridge to this particular village because that's my brother. He's going to suffer. So I have to be my brother's keeper. I have to love my brother. So if we don't imbibe that and love ourselves and make sure what affects the other person, that person affects me, for me to do the right thing, we must do the right thing to get out of this quagmire. If not, and we must, doing the right thing involves even putting the right people in the right places, regardless of where that person is coming from.
All right, comrade, speak to us on there are rumors about breakout between NLC and TUC, the organized labor, and this is not news. We often hear about these issues, and like I said, the hope of the workers is on the NLC. Like, this body is responsible. It has one of its objectives is to protect the interests of the workers, but we're hearing of issues like disputes between these two bodies. Is it really true that there's breakout like between the NLC and the TUC?
Well, I stand here to disprove that statement. There is no crisis between TUC and NLC.
Okay.
We are working toward the same goal. We have the same objective. We have the same theory. So at this time in particular, we all feel the pains. NLC is feeling the pains. The TUC is feeling the pain. So would the TUC or NLC come out and say, no, I'm not feeling the pain. Let it go the way it is. So I think that rumors, we stand there to disprove it.
Okay, so
And
what
I
are you
want to know-
recommending?
and I want you to know that, yes, we can have issue of say, okay, let's go this way or not go this way, right? It's not mean that we have disputes. That I discussed with you about before the doctor came in, that this country don't believe in social dialogue. But we, the labor centers, believe in social dialogue. It's like when husband and wife have crisis, they must get into their inner room and solve the problem. So the NLC and TUC, there's no crisis. We are working toward the same goal. And I think when the actions commenced, you will understand, you speak itself. And at this time in point, if TUC say, I disagree with this, what do you think will be the response of society? Now, if NLC say, oh, they are not concerned in this aspect, the society will speak out and we'll be able to see the true color of what is going on. So I stand here to tell you that we are working together as a team. Look at what's happened to the NLC in the past. On behalf of workers' protest for a state, who took over the aim of affair of this struggle? TUC did so. So I'm standing here to say we don't have any crisis. We are brothers and sisters. We are husband and wife.
All right. You say doing nothing is a recipe for chaos. So what are you recommending to salvage this situation? Because not just workers, but Nigerians generally are faced with this hardship. People are really hungry.
Think there is nothing we can recommend that Nigerians government should have a political will to salvage these ugly situations we find ourselves. This country is blessed with everything. It's greed, myopic reasoning that took us to where we are today. So we are telling the government, if they really look themselves in the position that they are be placed in higher authority, not to come and enslave anybody. Right? There was one governor that we are engaged on. He said he is here not to service his own family, and is ready to correct the needful. I want to cite you examples of the governor of Plateau State. Then we're having a brief discussion. He says something germane, and I wish he will continue with that statement. Recently there is an issue of purging out some institutions in Plateau State. And everybody might be wonder, but when you look at his own intentions, a mature and reasonable, without a political interest, without any affiliate to that, let us look at what he plays. Like I've told you, it's God that sees the conscience of everybody. He said, there are some people who have been casualized for how many years? Now, when the employment systems now comes out, why not consider those people first? If you are not saying they are not qualified, why do you maintain them for 4 or 5 years? The labor law says casualization should last for only 6 months. And if you are not competent, give him another 1 month time, put it in writing. But somebody will be there for 4 or 5 years. Now the opportunity comes, 15 years. And you now go and bring another person comes that is more competent. Is there any justice in it? So he said, even though if it is own friend, I'm quoting Caleb, our excellency, that even though if it is own friend, no matter how friends they are, and you are bringing your son before me, the question is that, is your child or your daughter qualified to that system? I think that's one of the things we should look at that example. He speak out, but now, let us see what action will speak to us. But from his mouth before us, I think one should be reasonable. Some of them might be worried, including me, that why should he come and scatter the employment? Then there must be something in depth into it. But when he made that statement, and that's how government should look like. So we should forget about sentiment, tribalism, religion affiliate, here and there. Let us do the needful. Is it not somebody that affecting organs of somebody in this state? And is he get a freedom? When I traveled out of this country, I was told that in the country, when you committed a crime, no lawyer should come and defend you. You have already know that you are gone for this. But in Nigeria, when I want to steal 10 million now, or 10 billion, if I want to steal 10 billion, I don't mind of giving 3 billion to do my case. At the end of the day, I will get justice. So that's part of the thing that Labour is now telling, that we have to kill injustice. When we kill injustice, then we can have free movement in this country. We can be secured. Then all these escarotings of Christ increase, we are greedy and we are selfish. When we want to sell rice, a mudun of 10 naira, and I say, God, you hear me, ba? I bought this thing 9 naira. Whereas you bought it at 6 naira. So until when we start have the fear of God at heart, and look at that, this is my fellow woman that I'm extorting. I talk about minimum wage of 30,000 naira that as of today, Labour is clamoring for 1 million naira now to negotiate. My sister, somebody you are a lecturer in university, somebody he taught, now got a position there, he's earning 60 million. How much is your salary, sir, doctor? Like you said, how much is your salary?
Well, we just
so we
hope
need to do justice to ourselves. And I'm telling you that Labour will lead the struggle.
Well, we hope
we
that
are ready to lead the struggle.
We hope so, because Nigerians have had that
anybody.
over and over again, and we hope that
this
Labour this time around will do the needful. And Nigeria as a whole, it's important that nepotism doesn't dethrone merit, because this is one of the situations that we found ourselves. When you check, most of the employment or the appointment is based on some nepotic reasons rather than on merit, and people end up not making the right decision or even policy. But as a way of rounding up, Dr. Dagwom, what coping mechanism would you recommend for Nigerians at this moment?
The coping mechanism, it depends on the resources. So it's the whole thing is that we should be resolute, and then we should be prayerful, because we're a prayerful country. But I think we should be thinking outside the box and see how we can create value and earn something so that we can get out of it. Sometimes hardship brings out the best out of you. Sometimes, and you can see even the hardship now is bringing the best out of even Labour too. They're trying to make sure that because of the hardship, because I think they are hearing from their members about the hardship. So the coping mechanism is to see how do we now be creative and survive, no matter how small, how we can create value. So sometimes we can even improve the economy by creating something and selling something in this hardship. We see what is actually needed and see how we can do that. I know resources, capital to start up a lot of things is a problem, but we should be more creative.
That's a powerful one, to be creative. Incremental wealth is one area that we should all think of, because it doesn't look like the situation is getting any better.
I want to tell you, before you round up, the doctor mentions some issues about the CEO of the bank. I think it's a time that Nigerians will clamp on them. If you see what is happening there, I think we should create a platform. We talk about the way they are commercializing our people as a prostitute.
Of course, we'll create time to have that
so many dirty things that happen there on the detriment of all these Nigerians.
We'll create time to talk about that. Thank you so much, Comrade Sunday and Dr. Dagwom, for creating time to speak with us on National Talk. We really appreciate. And to our viewers out there, thank you for your time on National Talk. Governance is about improving the life of the people, and so our leaders and government must think in that direction. Remember that democracy is a theory that the common people know what they want and deserve to get it real good and hard. Until we come your way next week, you stay blessed.